I don't have that desire to engage in pleasure the way that neurotypical people seem to. So I put it off, and then I put it off, and then I put it off, and then I find that the longer I put it off, the closer I get to getting what I can only imagine is something like a dopamine hit. If I drink a lot of water and I have to go to the bathroom, I will avoid going to the bathroom for as long as possible. I don't know that I would say I enjoy being a pleasure delayer. I can't speak to the specifics of why, and this isn't a choice that I'm making consciously. It's like, I'll do it in a minute, I'll do it in a minute, I'll do it in a minute. And I have done this so many times to the point where I have peed my pants multiple times because I just don't go to the bathroom when I'm supposed to go to the bathroom like a sane person. So I was at the White House for an event, and my husband and I were, this was White House, it's cool, it's fun. And I was wandering around, and I knew I had to go to the bathroom. I was like fidgety, and my husband was like, do you have to go to the bathroom? I was like, no, it's fine. Yes, but it's fine, I'll go in a minute. And we kept going, we were wandering. And I was not asking to use the restroom, which is what I should have done. And we finally get to this place in the White House where we're supposed to be, we're gathering for this event. And that's when I realized I have to go to the bathroom right now. As this lovely woman launched into a rendition of the national anthem, I was like, I'm just gonna pee my pants at the White House, that's what's gonna happen. And I did. And my husband very sweetly recognized what was happening, and he was like, are you pissing your pants at the White House? And yes, sure I am. He took off his blazer and he wrapped it around my waist so that nobody would see. No, we did not stay much longer after that, because I don't know how much experience you have in urinating yourself, but it's one of the most uncomfortable experiences to be just standing in a suit soaked in your own urine. According to the PCL, which is the gold standard for psychopathic, sociopathic testing, you're looking at someone who has a limited emotional affect. And that's really, really key, because so much of a sociopath is defined by their behavior, the quote unquote bad things they do. But really, I think the focus should be on this limited low affect. You're gonna see a lot of pathological lying, a lot of manipulation, superficial charm, lack of remorse or guilt. Parasitic lifestyle is often something that's associated with sociopathy, irresponsibility, criminal versatility. But these behaviors are problematic because not every sociopath acts that way. Psychopaths are believed to suffer from a biological abnormality that makes it impossible for them to progress through complex emotional development. So they never learn things like shame, guilt, or remorse. They can't course correct. They have trouble with impulse control. That is different from a sociopath who is believed to be capable of experiencing these emotions. They just struggle to do so. There's no real consensus on why. The prevailing theory is that psychopathy is the result of biology, whereas sociopathy is the result of environmental traumas or a temperament that sort of predisposes a child to be sociopathic, but can be sort of coaxed out of it with therapy and different coping mechanisms. This inability to connect with these learned emotions put me in this position where I felt as though I had to fake it. And that contributed to a lot of destructive behavior. It was essentially a maladaptive coping mechanism that developed into a lifestyle. I think that people feel safer believing that sociopaths are one-dimensional, dangerous monsters that you could see coming from miles away. Almost without exception, every single person that I have told I am a sociopath, they lean in. They want to be closer to me. They want to know more. They want to hear everything about it. And then they want to start talking about their darkness. Well, I've always wondered if I'm a sociopath because of this, or I want to hear about this person who I think they're interested in it. No one has ever clutched their pearls and run shrieking in the other direction. It's always been the opposite. Everyone has a darkness that they have labeled as bad. But when you get around someone like me, who ostensibly doesn't have any judgment, they see it as an opportunity to unburden themselves. Like, oh, I can talk to this person. They're not going to judge me. for these thoughts that I've had or these things that I've done. I find that really delightful and also a little bit sad, and that I want to lean over and say, you don't have to feel bad about all this stuff. You can just drop it. You can just be yourself and it's going to be fine. But 9 times out of 10, they don't feel that they can. They don't feel that they can admit to feeling a certain way or behaving a certain way without a tremendous amount of backlash, either self-inflicted or otherwise. Every single bit of my decision to pursue a doctorate in clinical psychology was motivated by sociopathy. What I found out was, in order to get your doctorate in psychology, you have to study other personality types too. And I wasn't interested at all. I was selfishly motivated. I wanted to help me and maybe others like me. I was able to understand the human condition in a way that I don't think I ever would have been able to otherwise. And it made things very black and white for me. It was, oh, this person acts this way because of this. That type of person acts that way because of that. It helped me understand concepts like guilt and empathy better. I didn't connect to them emotionally, but I could understand them intellectually, especially when I had to start seeing patients, which is not something I wanted to do, and I tried to get out of it in every way possible. But what I found was it was similar to breaking and entering, only I was in people's minds, and they were allowing me, obviously. But it was, wow, I don't have to have an emotional reaction to do this work. I don't have to have empathy, which sounds crazy coming from a therapist, but I think it's interesting that people always want to know, does my therapist really like me? Does my therapist hate me? What does my therapist think of me? And my answer is, do you wonder that of your oncologist? Do you wonder that of your primary care physician? Probably not. And I think the same should be said about your therapist. It's not my job to like you. It's not my job to empathize with you. It's my job to help you. It's my job to observe the things you're telling me and help you figure things out. And once I got that, and I realized how unemotional psychology could be, ironically, it really shifted the way that I perceived just humans in general. Something I noticed about people is darkness is extremely relatable, and everyone has an element of sociopathy within them. It's a matter of navigating through the guilt in order to get them to admit it and accept it and be okay with it. And so much of society, I feel, is overly burdened by guilt, having thoughts they quote unquote shouldn't be having feelings they quote unquote shouldn't be having. And I think getting people to be more accepting of their darkness is healthy. And that was something I really tried to do when I was working as a therapist, to get people to stop judging themselves for having negative thoughts or negative feelings. There's